What's going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today I'm going to talk to you about Rivian. I want to go over some of the current data points, break it down on why it is up as much as it is today, and with their Q1 earnings right around the corner, just a quick overview of things to keep in mind. Before I get into any of that, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So right now it is up 1.09%. Market's been open just over about an hour. 9.7 million shares being traded. 37 is the average. So kind of low volume. It did have a high of 1050, so that'll make a little bit more sense once I go over the technicals. But in essence, all of this is being just derived by algorithmic trading. So AI is being told to buy Rivian, the whole EV sector, a lot of growth stocks, only because of expectations of rate cuts. So that's being piggybacked from last week on Friday. So there was no official news from Rivian, no SEC filing, so it has been quiet from them. They do have their earnings, like I said, tomorrow after hours, so I'm going to be live streaming that, so make sure you guys hit that thumbs up, and hopefully from their earnings they're going to give a lot of good future guidance. But again, I'm going to go over all of the things that you need to know associated to that near the tail end of the video. But starting off, looking at shorts are currently increasing 159,000 shares. 20.02% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 141.76 million shares overall are being shorted. Utilization 75.88, and then cost to borrow 1.01%. So in my opinion, I don't see Rivian being a squeeze play despite shorts really getting in over this last little bit. Although with positive earnings hopefully coming out tomorrow, you should see them naturally leave. Not a squeeze, but you'll see them naturally leave as the price adjusts, because just looking at the PS ratio, the current is 2.3, the future is 2.1. So in my opinion, Rivian is at a pretty substantial discount. There's very little expectations for the foreseeable future. So if they do come out with their earnings and it is somewhat better than anticipated, and it looks like they're at least doing the necessary steps to control cash burn and everything like that, then you should see the stock price go up accordingly. Because just to put it in perspective, Tesla right now, the PS ratio is 6.1 and the future is 5.5. Of course, Tesla is profitable, so you kind of have to look at PE, but generally in comparison to Rivian, like it should go up. Rivian should go up at least 2x just based on this alone. So once again, I think Rivian, once they show some signs of improving at their cash burn and everything, the market will very much appreciate that. 2024 honestly is relentless. Like unless your company is pristine and you aren't going to be diluting in the foreseeable future, then the market likes you. But if not, then you get kind of shit on like Rivian has been. My apologies on the French there. But getting into options, $2.16 million in calls, 1.32 million in puts, somewhat evenly divided, but 45% of all the options being done today are bearish. But of the call options that are being purchased, you see a consensus for it to be roughly about $15. That's actually post their earnings. So you do see a lot of volatility. Even looking at puts though, you do see a consensus for it to be sub 850. So you do have both extremes indicating at least a 20% kind of volatility rate is anticipated. So 20% in either direction after their earnings at least. So Rivian is a very volatile stock. I think all of us generally do know that. These are some of the transactions that have occurred so far on the secondary market above $100,000 today. So like I pointed out, just today's kind of nice run up is very exciting, sexy, but it's not really justified because big money isn't really propping it up. So it's just algorithmic trading. Yesterday, or I guess, sorry, on Friday, there was a lot of transactions getting in. So I think a lot of the institutions that were wanting to buy Rivian associated to their earnings did buy in on Friday. So again, something to keep in mind, a lot of big transactions as you can kind of see right here. So several $2 million transactions, 9.12, 1.16. So quite a lot of big money is getting in. And even today though, if you want to look at it like that, 1.55 and also 2.78 million. So something to keep in mind. Dark pool though is very, very popular. That is linked to shorting and just large institutions. But as far as recent analyst ratings, last one was done 3 days ago, $10 price target. Jordan, who has a 30% success rating, so very, very crappy. So yeah, I think that's good. You'll see a hell of a lot of ratings come out similar to what happened post earnings. So yeah, I think you'll probably see ideally, assuming everything goes according to plan from their earnings, anywhere from $12 to $16 price targets. But if their earnings are bad, then you are going to see probably a lot of 8s or 9s, maybe even some 10s. So definitely it'll be a very interesting time. Aside from all of that fun stuff, let's talk on the technicals before I go over their earnings. So right now with it at $10.18, it is trading between this pivot point and this R1. So $10.53 is a very strong resistance, and that's why it did bounce off of that general area. So the 1050. So we do know that's a very strong resistance, at least going into the next couple of days and their earnings. But $9.43 will be that next strong support. Very wide gaps, so it does mean that there's going to be a lot of volatility, and obviously the options do signal that as well. And for anyone investing in Rivian, you already know is very volatile. Sometimes 6% up, and then literally in the same day it goes 3% down. Is crazy swings. So let me know your thoughts on that. As far as on the actual chart though, still higher percentile of the boiling band stochastic. You do see a nice bullish deviation, so white line above the red, but keep in mind the first sign of weakness, and with their earnings coming out tomorrow, that could be that first sign of weakness. You will see a very significant pullback based on that, which again is somewhat natural for the technical, so it's somewhat healthy, but I'm sure it'll cause a lot of panic selling, in my opinion. Aside from that though, you do see number of retail investors getting out, so maybe taking profits or whatever else. So if you are one of those individuals that did sell out today leading into their earnings, is that why, or what was your mentality? So let me know your thoughts on all of that. Like I said, when it comes down to their earnings, there is several things that you want to really watch for, and so that is earnings per share. So earnings per share will really dictate how much they've done to control their kind of excessive expenses. And so as you can kind of see right now, there is 16 analysts with a consensus of negative 116. And so it does have a low of 134 and a high of 1. So obviously that's how you get the consensus. In my opinion, I think if it does come in line with that, then it is fairly good. But just to give you a quick overview of how they've done in the past. So just to quickly go over here, Analyst Forecast. So looking at their earnings per share, historically, they do beat. Actually, I think every single time, with exception of their most recent one, so their Q4, that is where they did miss on earnings per share. But aside from that, every other time it seems to be very positive. And then just to quickly go back over here. So as far as revenue, currently 18 analysts have given estimates with a consensus of 1.17 billion, low end 1.07, high 1.27. And so just to quickly go back and forth, my apologies for all this kind of screen changing, but looking at revenue, you do see typically they do exceed analyst expectations. So in my opinion, I think Rivian's actual true numbers are always somewhat good. It's just their future guidance and how much they're burning through. That is what the market absolutely hates. And like I said, they are like 2024 is like cutthroat. It is literally cutthroat. It will kill your company if it shows any signs of weakness. And obviously weakness is attributed to just dilution, excessive cash burn, and everything like that. So in my opinion, I think their upcoming earnings is going to be somewhat optimistic. This is just based on at least the news that's been coming out, the layoffs, and just how Rivian handles themselves. Of course, that could definitely be not always accurate, because you don't always want to believe everything on the internet. Even on my videos, double check, do your own due diligence. And this is why when I'm covering, for instance, data like this, pause it, read through it with a fine-tooth comb, and just analyze it accordingly. So in my opinion, I do feel that the earnings is going to be somewhat optimistic, especially just based on their cash and cash equivalents, short term, of course. It's basically the market cap right now. So there's no multiple placed on it. So I think even if they do come out with very little future guidance, but it is still somewhat optimistic and they don't give like, oh my God, we're going to die kind of vibes, then the market should really cause Rivian to go up. So let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Are you buying? Are you selling? What are you doing with Rivian? And what's your price predictions post earnings? So that one should be a very interesting one. So let me know in the comments below. One final thing, take advantage of this promo. Simply sign up for a new account, throw $100 at it, and they give you 7 fractional shares of the Mag 7. So pretty kick-ass deal. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.